I think this is a really nice reset on SMCI, honestly. I know some of you took that trade this morning. It was on our morning watch list. Round of applause on that. I've been very selective, only taking a few trades today, trying to make sure I don't overtrade in this type of market environment. So I've been keeping. I've only been trying to play some of these. Today I played the Tesla, and then I actually played. We'll talk about the other plays too. I decided not to take the Dell, and then I actually played Baba as a lotto position. But the big thing I want to talk about, we're getting a little distracted here. But I think is important is kind of what's been going on with the trading, right? There's a lot of self-reflection that I did this afternoon, kind of. Today we had this, I felt myself actually getting kind of frustrated and impatient with the market. Especially on a day like today where the price action was awful. Earlier today we cut this APP trade. And when I cut this trade, it wasn't necessarily a bad move. We broke under the previous day's lows. We then kind of broke under this support that was developing here too. But if we go to the 65-minute chart, we actually ended up making a sizable defense here. Pretty good retracement, right? Kind of pop into the highs, come down. We're getting the defense. And I think on a trade that doesn't expire till the end of next week, you actually want to hold this. So after I cut the trade, and then I kind of saw it coming back, I didn't really want to chase it because I felt FOMO, and I don't like to trade things when I feel FOMO. I don't like to trade things when I feel myself getting emotional. That makes me usually not want to touch stuff. But then it rippled into this Micron trade. And I think I had some mismanagement here too. I think I overheld this one. It was a smaller trade, obviously. The day was fine because we nailed Tesla, but I kind of want to focus on. I don't want to focus on what was working. I kind of want to focus on these losers, which might be to my disadvantage because I'm going to upload this to YouTube. But I want to focus on the losers today. I cut this at the 104 break. We got a nice back test to the back test here on the fibs, but I want to see if this is going to give a better setup in the next days. We might still come down to 100 or so, but I probably should have cut this one when we started to break the EMAs. Let's just remove the fibs for a moment. We had an opportunity to take about 26% right off the rip on the morning, and I didn't take partials like I should have. I was getting a little greedy because it looked like a really strong move. We had great alignment on the TTM squeeze this morning for this name. We were starting to get the 15-minute to roll over in tandem with the 10-minute and the 5-minute. And usually when I see that and it isn't even going to the green and the RSIs aren't even overbought, you can get a great continuation. So I was looking for this trade to pop cleanly over yesterday's highs and come potentially touch 111 today. But then we got this massive drag on NVIDIA, and the sentiment kind of turned very sour in the morning. And I was willing to hold it for a bit longer, seeing that SPY was, being well behaved. MU was holding up really well at the beginning of the morning, even with this weakness. Then we got the nice pops, but MU never got any of that. And it kind of hovered. I was waiting, watching for the relative volume. You had the great relative volume building into the open. You get the nice reset right before the open as well, which is a lot cleaner on the 65 minutes. So it was a good trade from the playbook, but my intuition told me to cut this when I should have cut it when it was down about 30%. And I didn't because I had cut the APP, thought it to play out great, and then I thought, oh man, I'm messing up my discipline again. or I'm not giving this market enough leeway because it keeps wanting to test people's convictions, right? And the markets do that very frequently, where you'll get the initial move and get the pop, and then you get a retracement. That retracement is almost like the market makers testing people's convictions, right? And, trying to take you to the break even or even below the break even, and seeing how much do you believe, how much do you have the confidence in yourself and a trader, how much do you have the convictions that your play is a good one, right? And this has been a consistent thing today, and it finally clicked in my head today that I've lost some of that confidence because of this tough market environment, because of my frustrations and my emotions, because looking back upon the reviews that we've been doing this week, it's my win rate has having some slippage. I still think that we're doing fine. I still think the performance is passable, but it's not what it was, right? This isn't 2024 right now, right? Performance. This isn't at 80% hits. This is a lot tougher. And I think today was the realization that, I'm not listening to my gut checks. And, with things like APP, I'm not having that confidence into the trade that gives me the patience to pause, look over the time frames, reassess the thesis, And so I'm actually feeling really good right now. Upon the review today, this APP, if this wants to set up, if we can get a nice solid move, might even be able to be patient, wait for the 506. I might step in a little bit earlier if we can kind of get over the highs today, especially with the decent pattern of the market. I think we'll probably get a gap up tomorrow, but I'm feeling good about that. The other thing that I'm feeling pretty good about is this Tesla trade here. I think Tesla's setting up really nicely. I think we could get a visit to 400. What I want to see is we're kind of, back tested the center line of this parallel channel right here. And I want to see if kind of into this week, if we can maybe get a pop and then break out for a nice visit to 400 minimum. The daily is kind of getting this turnover here. We got a nice RSI SMA cross here. So I want to see if we can, break to this and then break out of that, then break over the parallel channel. We have I can't tell if that's a candle or if that's a line I drew here. Yeah, so we have 1, 2, 3. So fourth test, no such thing as quad tops. I think that'll be the nice break. So that's what I'd really like to see here. And then, of course, I'm still of the opinion that this market is on the tail ends of bull market. So we'll still need to be cautious. I liked playing Tesla even in tail ends of bull markets, because even if this market starts to roll over, lots of money can consolidate into this cult name, and this thing can run counter to the market all the time. Very, 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 very strong. And the other thing that makes me really confident into this is because with Elon working in the government and stuff, we're once again seeing all over the social set. Tesla is just an EV company. Why would people want to invest in Tesla and blah, blah, blah. Every time that happens, Tesla usually presents really bullish opportunities. I was actually having a really recent conversation with someone about this. And they were telling me that the psychology doesn't really matter. 1 second, let me mute this right here. I don't want notifications right now. Someone was talking to me about, technical analysis being astrology for traders. And I think a lot of you still don't have a lot of convictions, even though the TA we do is very simple. It's just key levels, right? Key levels is the groundwork for what I do. Key levels work, right? Everything else, I don't know if you guys have done this and dug into other people's strategies, but everyone else's strategies are kind of based around key levels, whether or not they're even aware of it, right? when they talk about liquidity sweeps or when they're talking about, oh, the volume profile here. If you're good at setting these key levels, if you're good at identifying at what points or what prices the market has reactions, what you're doing unknowingly is you're setting those volume profiles. You're finding those spots of those liquidity sweeps. That's all the market is just having a price of memory. It's just all psychology, right? And those people think that they're overcomplicating something that's stupid simple, right? They think they need to get really granular like that, but literally, I'll all the time have the same targets as other people, and they'll go through this like extremely complex process of how they derive this level, and I'll just be like, well, I mean, every time it hits that level, it moves $10. So yeah, that's the key level. Super simple. And some people say, well, that's just astrology, but I actually thought of a perfect analogy today. When you're looking at the value of like Hot Wheels on eBay, if you go to a guy in the fundamental analysis and you say, hey, look at this collectible Hot Wheels on eBay, it's worth $5,000. If you go to a guy that does fundamental analysis, he'll tell you what the plastic's worth of the wheels. He'll tell you how much the paint costs for the design. He'll tell you, well, look at the the assembly line, how much it costs to ship it, and then he'll say, well, that should only be worth $5, right? That's the fundamental analysis guy. That's the analyst on Twitter who says, why is Tesla worth this? Why is Palantir worth this? And they actually miss two things, right? The first thing they miss is really stupid. It's actually very low IQ. The first thing is they assume that that opportunity has equates to zero. The opportunity has no value. Future opportunity having no value is obviously dumb, right? It's actually unbelievably dumb to not price in the future opportunities of a company, the what could be, the what are they working on, and pricing that into the stock name, right? That's the first dumb thing, right? Markets aren't backward looking, neither should you be. The second thing that they miss, though, that's equally important, is the psychology of the market. They argue with the market. You don't argue with the market. You don't yell at the people on eBay that pay $5,000 for a Hot Wheel, because it's worth what the Hot Wheel fanboys say it's worth, right? You don't go and tell them they're dumb. That's what it's worth to them. That's why collectibles work. That's why there's collectible markets. Why would the stock market be any different than any set of collectibles? It's the same concept. It is what people are willing to pay for it. And doing something like technical analysis is a way to quantify in a loosely scientific manner of what the value of those things will be based on the prices that they were before. Same thing you would do on, same thing the collectors do on eBay. They keep track of the prices. Those prices of those collectibles, they go through hot phases and cold phases, It's the same exact thing. And if all you're doing is a fundamental analysis of everything, you're going to be constantly wrong and confused, right? Nothing's going to make any sense to you. Right? That makes sense, guys? Can I get a 1 in the chat? DSB says, I set my line to where Carvana went to. I zoomed out and it was a volume profile peak like 7 minutes ago. Yeah. Carvana, I was listening to an amazing podcast. I had to go pick up my wife's medicine from CVS, and then I picked us up some dinner. And I was listening to a podcast where between two marketers, and they were quoting Jeff Bezos when he said that when my antidotes don't align with my data, I always go with the antidote. And it immediately made me think of Carvana. All the dealership guys that we have on the podcast that I've been networking with telling me that they don't understand how this company makes money. They keep getting that Carvana just keeps overpaying for vehicles they shouldn't, and then they'll watch on the sell websites that they're literally selling vehicles for more than what they paid for. They're like, this business makes no sense. The delinquencies make no sense. The banks won't buy from them. Ally is the main bank working with them, and now they stepped back. The main buyer of the debt that they have is now a guy who's on the board of the company. So it feels so dirty. I think someone's going to go to jail. Probably a few people. I don't want to get too conspiratorial, but pretty much everything about this company points to that. I haven't read through this. Yeah, they did surprise in revenue. We talked about this in the weekly newsletter, of course. So that was within expectation. What really wasn't an expectation is I thought this had the possibility to squeeze a little bit higher. So I'm actually really happy to see that it's not. Obviously, as most of you know, we are short on this name. So it's going to be nice to see that come back a bit more. We're going to be looking this over in the morning. I want to see if we can get like a front side short setup. I did the same thing this morning with CDNS. So this is actually a good thing to review right here, where we had the sell-off into the close, or the sell-off after the close on the earnings report, right? Gets deeply oversold and then retraces half the move and reaches a very overbought RSI. Now, I see that, I check on the market at like 6 p.m. and I see this setup. All right. Just to kind of walk you guys through, I see this, right? I see that it's getting very overbought while it's in a massive downtrend, right? So what I want to see the next morning when I'm creating my watch list and looking for opportunities is I want to see this kind of continue a downtrend, pop to like here, and then kind of middle its way into the open, without really breaking a new low. And what I want to see right here is I want to see this. I want to see that double top. If that occurred, we would call that a bearish divergence. The stock repeatedly hitting overbought territory, but it's slowly working its way lower, right? And then what would be great is if like the first move is kind of like a pop, and then it hits really overbought level again, and then kind of resets lower, right? That makes for a very clean short position. We didn't get that. So even though this name played out, we didn't really get the great quality setup that we want to see to take that short position, right? And so a great short that paid very well here. There we go. Yes. Okay. So much cleaner here, right? Now here it's really stupid obvious, right? This stock is slowly selling off right here. It's almost creating like this small triangle here, right? That's I could already tell that was probably the issue. Is when I did the analysis on this, I had it on regular hours. Wait a second. Yep, that's exactly what it is. That's why I was so confused. It was just very good, too, by the way, when you're doing these chart analysis to have it on regular hours. There's this like beautiful triangle right here, and the RSI is slowly working its way up while the stock is melting down, right? Creates this very bearish divergence, right? Why is the RSI coming up when the stock is clearly coming down? And additionally, you're right. You're like, you keep barely testing this key level here, right? But sellers can't get it off the level, right? Very clean setup on Amazon. Congrats to everyone who took this trade that we had set up earlier this week. This is a very classic bearish divergence, right? This is basically the RSI resetting, right? Giving you more room to run to the downside, which turned into a pretty simple trade. Quick sell off, quick scalp off that key level there, right? Because here's that setup, right? There's that RSI coming higher, and then you sell off on a quick plunge right there, right? Stuff like that create opportunities for great day trades. This one obviously didn't get a lot of follow through. I actually found some really weird resistance, probably just symptomatic of a very strange market. It's definitely still in a bearish trend. So if this is something that you like swung trade, you really wouldn't be tempted to close it until it got over this. I think it is reasonable to no longer hold this though, given the fact that the market's kind of breaking out. Amazon and I believe Microsoft have had persistent weakness until today. Look at that. So yeah, I think that's enough stuff covered for class today. Does anyone have any questions? Oh, looks like we went too long. It's just the two of us, or three of us. We can make it if we try. For that CVNS RSI hit you were looking for, would that have printed on a shorter time frame, like a 9 RSI rather than a 14 RSI? So walk me through what you mean there. Do you want to come up here? Come up here, DSB. Come up here and explain to me what you're saying.
Hey, so you circled on the RSI there. You wanted to see that little pop for the clean short.
Yeah.
Would that pop have printed on a shorter RSI time frame, like a 9 length RSI rather than, I don't know, I can't see what yours is set to.
What do you mean by the length of the RSI?
The smoothing average line. If you click, you know what I'm talking about. It's the little down arrow on the side for like the settings on the upper left. Wait, no, wait. I know your screen is like crunchy. Hit the legend to the left of that. Yeah, 14 RSI. So that's it's the 14. See the length, yeah.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I can answer that because I'm not sure I've really played with that. One of the things I
The
have,
only reason why I ask is one of these textbooks I got about trading. It talks about that in like one paragraph about shortening it to like a 9 RSI and sometimes, but that's the only place I've ever heard of it was this one book. So I don't know.
well, the thing is that my RVol relativity is also set at 14. So if I move that down to a 9, I might want to adjust this too. I haven't really played with those. I've played with time frames a lot. Like I really, really like the 65 minute over the 1 hour. I know it's just a 5 minute difference, but it actually makes trying to hunt for these RSI divergences so much easier. As does like going on the regular trading hours rather than extended hours. You could probably argue that even without that RSI setup, there is probably an entry here. I just didn't like the pre-market, so I wasn't watching it like the other names. And because I'm trying not to overtrade. But yeah, that's a pretty good question. I actually have never played with late shortening the length of the RSIs though. Sorry, I started to ramble there a little bit.
No, yeah, you answered me. It's
All
good.
right, cool.
Yeah, and that one thing, it was the Carvana. They took their revenue per sale is down 4.5%. So each sale they're making almost 5% less this earnings.
So the margins are like ass.
If they're already losing money, their margins are even worse.
Yeah. it's pretty crazy that the stock's only down like, for a company that's known to manipulate their earnings for it to still be bad. It's actually incredible that this is all the pain that they're getting from that. Actually incredible. This company should be melting a lot more than it is.
That's what you're saying though. Is you're looking for the short in the morning with a little like a pop and then a good short.
Yeah, that's what I'll be watching for the pre-market. I want to see if we can get that set up and get a really nice continuation. Honestly, this stock probably wants to come and test. That pop's going to bring it down to 50. It's actually going to bring it almost right to the 618. So if that 618 breaks, we could probably hunt for the 234 or the 220. And then if it's going to be a denial, like this could still be like a very atypical B wave. Well, I love that the daily's been melting. What the weekly do? If this weekly can turn over because of that, we can get across the downside there. Yeah, this could be a very atypical B wave. B waves can go like higher than previous. So if we could get like a nice C wave down, that would be really nice. What did I just click? Bring us to 120.
Yeah, 220 should be pretty clean if it gives it up here. I mean, like like you said, dude, how does it even operate? It's all questionable. I mean, you see these yards and they're just 2 years ago, yeah, they were moving cars. Now it's like they're parking cars sideways a lot down the lanes because they can't move them. I drove past a Tesla dealer today even. I think there was 4 or 5 Tesla trucks just sitting out in the dealer yard. So if Tesla can't move these Tesla trucks, I mean, how is Carvana moving used cars for 10-20% over its competitors in some instances?
Well, if you talk to dealerships, they're not. If you talk to dealerships, Carvana's not making any money. That's like pretty universal. That was the big Hindenburg report, right? Is like they think Carvana's going to zero, and when you look at the financials too, and the thing that really kills me is that debt is really they have their defaults are accelerating rapidly, right? Like and this is actually like there's probably going to be a blow up at some point in this year in the auto market. That's going to be similar to the subprime. Well, it's going to be similar to the. Yeah. Well, no, it's going to be in the total auto market in general. There's a lot of funny business with. It's going to be similar to the subprime loan blow up with the housing market. It's going to happen to the auto market at some point this year. So at some point, you want to get a new car, kind of wait till the second half of 2025. You'll probably find a really great opportunity come like maybe June, July, maybe push it out to August. I'd be really shocked if it doesn't happen in like the second half of this year, though. Especially if rates start to come up higher. So if rates climb up higher and this doesn't have like a nuke situation where something finally breaks, because no banks are buying, even Ally Bank, who's been working with Carvana, has been pushing them off, and so they're having to like sell to themselves, they're selling to a family member who's also on the board of the company. Someone's going to jail at Carvana. Like someone's going to jail very soon. It's more of a game of like how long can they keep playing with the finances. I've never seen something. I think this stock is going to turn into like a big short moment. You're going to get another move like this from like 380 all the way down to like $3. I think the next blow up for this stock is going to be even faster than this, though, because you know, as you can see how much faster this was, kind of comparative to this move. I think when this blow up starts, everyone's going to remember the short report that came out that caused this, and they're going to look at this. Baby moves to the downside, and they're going to all panic out. I think this thing's going to be a really, really big mess. So I am always shocked that there's anyone holding this.
You know, Monty said a week or two ago, it keeps ringing in my mind. He was like, only dumb money is buying Carvana right now.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, insiders have been dumping the stock. Jeez.
Wow, 21%. That reminds me of like a meme coin just getting one clip, man.
P/E ratio of 33,000. It's actually,
Yeah, what's up with that?
I don't, you know, when I see stuff like that and the stock isn't like is holding that for a sustained period of time, I think money laundering is honestly what I think. I think someone's going to jail. There's something illegal happening here, because that doesn't make any sense.
The question is, though, whose money are they laundering?
I don't know. Doesn't really matter.
'Cause, you know, that's what I do, and I'm struggling to figure. I mean, is there a bank in there? Are they
Still,
getting kickbacks from somewhere, like from the government? They're laundering.
well, a
there?
bank has to be involved. A bank has to be involved, which we've seen. You know, that's not really the most conspiratorial thing, because that does happen. At least every like decade or so, a bank gets in trouble for money laundering or something. You know, usually not a big one like Ally, but usually someone gets caught doing some stuff they shouldn't be doing, because they get, you know, people get greedy. There's a ton of money in money laundering, like a lot, millions and millions and millions. But you know, the only thing I'll say is I'm still hard at work on this, guys. Creating the playbook, getting it all set up. You know, this will be a downloadable PDF, similar to the psychology one that we added to the educational section. So lots of new stuff coming out. But I will upload this class to YouTube with some slight editing, just to cut out all the dead noise, so it's watchable as a YouTube video. And I'm going to be uploading all of these to YouTube now. So if you can't make it, they'll be on YouTube from now on. So hope you all have a good night. It's late. I've had a very emotionally heavy day. Watching the market, taking care of the sick wife. Then you go to the urgent care. I go pick up medicine. I'm making dinner. I'm making lunch. Making bottles. Juggling. Wearing all the hats. Lots of juggling. So I'll see you all in the morning. I'm going to go get some good old sleep. And we'll definitely be keeping an eye for a continuation of Carvana tomorrow. And looking at some other names. Maybe play some. Yep. Well, I'll post it tomorrow. Y'all have a good night. Okay? Thanks for coming to class.
Thanks.
God bless, guys.